Battle through the firmament. Grand world. Chapter 320. Mahiyu's condition. Xiaoyan did not feel embarrassed when he heard that and drank all the tea in his cup. He looked at Mahiyu and said seriously, "Since that is the case, I hope senior sister can tell me the situation in illusory spirit space in detail." Mahiyu smiled when she heard that and said casually, "I heard that Zuna and Kailin have also entered the Soaring Dragon ranking and are ranked 9th and 10th. Xiaoyan nodded his head and said in a deep voice, "That's right. If I was alone, I wouldn't have bothered senior." Mahiyu lightly nodded her head and took a sip of tea, then said with a smile that was not a smile, "It is rare for you to have this kind of heart." Zuna and Kailin did not misjudge the person. Pausing for a moment, Mahiyu looked at Xiaoyan and said in a low voice, "At the peak of Heaven Pillar Peak, when you fought with Ju Tianho, the flames you used, were they monic flames?" Speaking up to this point, a purple light appeared in Mahiyu's eyes, as if she had seen through Xiaoyan. Nodding his head silently, Xiaoyan did not deny it. This kind of thing could no longer be concealed. As the opponent became stronger in the future, the monic flame would become an ultimate skill that he would frequently use. Furthermore, with Mahiyu's intelligence, she would have guessed it long ago. As expected, I have always heard that the power of the monic flame is mysterious and hard to find. I never thought that it would appear in front of me today. Mahiyu couldn't help but smile when she saw Xiaoyan admit it. She gently nodded her head and said, "My brother is Mahiyang. You should know that. My dream has always been to defeat him. But now it seems impossible. It just so happens that your identity is the same as his. Both of you are Saint rank trial participants, and with the monic flame, you can make up for the gap between you and him at the same time. Originally, I was going to fight you in the Heaven Pillar Peak. Unfortunately, you fainted. Let's take this opportunity to have a fight, how about it?" Mahiyu stuck out her tongue. Her appearance was very playful, but the fighting spirit in her purple eyes was exceptionally vigorous. Seeing Xiaoyan's slightly surprised look, Mahiyu curled the corner of her mouth and said, "Of course, you can also think that I am taking the opportunity to threaten you. But don't worry, no matter who wins or loses, I will tell you in detail. I will not hold back at all." Mahiyu smiled, then a cunning look flashed across her eyes. "However, if you can defeat me, I will tell you all the secrets about the illusory spirit space. These secrets were discovered by my brother when he entered the illusory spirit space. Even in the entire realm in Valley, I don't think there are more than 3 people who know about it." Hearing this, Xiaoyan's original plan to deal with the situation became active. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "What secrets?" Mahiyu smiled and said, "I heard that Zuna and Kailin both have a heavenly weapon, but even so, their strength is still too weak. Illusory spirit space is also an extremely dangerous place. Secret. Naturally, it is a safe place." Upon hearing this, Xiaoyan could no longer sit still. Mahiyu's words had completely shattered the last trace of hesitation in his heart. "All right." Letting out a breath, Xiaoyan suddenly stood up. His eyes stared intently at Mahiyu as he smiled and said, "Are we going to fight here? I'm afraid that all the plants in your mountain will be burned down." Mahiyu curled her lips and said, "Of course not. It would not be good to be disturbed by others when we fight. Here." As she spoke, Mahiyu extended her slender fingers and pointed towards the mountain path in the distance. "That is the outer area of the academy. Where do we fight? No one will care." Xiaoyan raised his head and looked. The mountains in the distance were majestic and vast. It was indeed a good place to fight. "Let's go." "Where can we go? If we can't defeat brother, then defeating you will be our last regret." Mahiyu's eyes curved like the moon, and she smiled sweetly. In the next moment, her beautiful figure moved, and she was the first to move down the mountain. Xiaoyan grinned when he heard this and followed closely behind. He was also very curious about Mahiyu's strength. He had never seen her make a move before. This time, it was also an opportunity. Realm in Valley. Ever since the inner courtyard competition ended, all the students of Realm in Valley were preparing to enter the illusory spirit space. There were only 15 days of opportunity in this year, so naturally, none of them would miss it. If they were lucky, 15 days of cultivation inside was equivalent to a year of bitter cultivation in the outside world. I still underestimated the Saint rank trial participant. To be able to fight Zhu Tianhou to a draw, his strength isn't weak anymore. On the heavenly peak where Yuan Tianmu was located, Zan Kai's brows were tightly knitted as he muttered to himself. Yuan Tianmu, who was standing by the side, shook his head upon hearing this. He did not say anything, but his heart was filled with a myriad of emotions. Back when he first met Shaoyan, the latter was no match for Li Yin, who was merely at the peak of Monarch King. Originally, he thought that this was the only strength he had. Unexpectedly, this brat still had some tricks up his sleeve. In the battle in Heaven Pillar Peak, the combat strength of Shaoyan had erupted. Even he was somewhat shocked. He had achieved so much in just a month after entering the academy. In all these years, he was afraid that only Ma Huyang had achieved so much. This time, Shaoyan was going to be added to the list. There are still 10 days until the opening of the illusory spirit space. During this period of time, do you think you can kill that Emperor Cultivation Heavenly Beast? Zan Kai suddenly looked at Yuan Tianmu and said in a low voice. Yuan Tianmu was stunned for a moment, then he shook his head solemnly and said, "Let's put it down first. With our strength, it will be difficult for us to kill an Emperor Cultivation level Heavenly Beast. If we get injured again and miss the opening of the illusory spirit space, then the loss will outweigh the gain." Zan Kai silently nodded his head. Just as he was about to speak, Yuan Tianmu sighed and said, "You have seen the battle in Heaven Pillar Peak. Wu Shaoqi and Lu Xiangyang's strength are average, but if Mahiyu, Shaoyan, and Zhu Tianhou are given enough time, once they enter the Realm in Valley, the power of the Realm in Valley will definitely be reshuffled." Zan Kai's facial expression changed slightly. He opened his mouth but did not know what to say. The reason he supported Zhu Tianhou was because he wanted to use the latter to suppress Mahiyu and Wu Shaoqi, but he did not expect that Shaoyan would jump out and tie with Zhu Tianhou in the competition, making Mahiyu the first place once again. This was something that he did not expect. Just wait and see. This time, I must advance to the Monarch Emperor in illusory spirit space. After a while, Zan Kai suddenly spoke fiercely. His eyes were filled with intense fighting intent. Facing the sudden rise of Shaoyan and Mahiyu, even someone as proud as him felt a trace of panic. Yuan Tianmu only sighed slightly when he heard this. He didn't put Zan Kai's words in his heart. It was very easy to break through to the Monarch Emperor. In the Realm in Valley, those who had broken through to the Monarch Emperor would also be able to do so. However, there were only Ma Huyang and Lin Dao. While Yuan Tianmu and Zan Kai were talking, above another heavenly peak in the Realm in Valley, a young man was sitting on the ground. He was wearing a green robe, and his hair was thick. There was a lazy aura hanging between his brows, and he was playing with a red bead. "Who is this Shaoyan? He can fight Zhu Tianhou to a draw. I have also heard about the ability of the sacred spirit fire body from my grandfather. He can suppress all flames in the world." Shaoyi's face was expressionless as he stared at the bead in his hand. He did not say a word, but his mind was moving quickly. There are 10,000 fires in the world. Shaoyi's eyes sparkled. He pondered for a moment before his expression suddenly paused. The bead in his hand also cracked. Monarch flame. An intense light suddenly erupted from his eyes. Shaoyi's tightly knitted brows finally relaxed, and his body trembled. It's definitely a Monarch flame. There is a Monarch flame sealed in the Xiao clan. This Shaoyan actually possesses a Monarch flame. No wonder Zhu Tianhou isn't a match for him. Taking a deep breath, Shaoyi's eyes sparkled. Finally, the smile on his face became bigger and bigger, and finally, it turned into a wild joy. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.